So it's just kind of like there's so many things to think about in the heat of the moment, and there's so many little things that like if you don't like keep together and like keep on your toes, that everything can just like go wrong, and then people can get upset. So at like a kind of higher level, the thing that's kind of interesting about Overwatch in comparison to a lot of other esports is that while there was some professional play obviously before Overwatch League and stuff, the majority of esports things for Overwatch League has kind of been pushed by Blizzard itself, so the company that makes it, if you didn't know. So they kind of do most of the pushing for that, a lot of the funding. They try to kind of turn it into a big esport on their own, rather than a lot of other esports don't get funding from like the company who made the game originally. So at the beginning, there wasn't that much of that funding, and then as it got a little bit of popularity, it all of a sudden got pushed really hard, and now we have the Overwatch League, which is the premier viewing experience for Overwatch, basically.
Talk about the match we're all looking forward to, because this one lived up to all of the hype as Houston and Dallas faced off in the first ever Battle of Texas in Texas.
My question, I guess, is like, do you think the franchising model helped the Overwatch League in kind of any capacity?
Yeah, I think a lot of that probably kind of originated also from the World Cup, because I think that got a lot of popularity before Overwatch League did. So at first it was kind of like that, where you had teams that had those kind of like, this is TSM, or I don't think that was one of them, but things like that.
Yeah.
And then Overwatch League, or no, the Overwatch World Cup actually came around, and they started having certain countries.
Short fall down to one, Sky finds the last orb, and now he's in position to heal up. 5 stars on the flag, 5 stars from the judges, and China will be in a gold medal match.
And then certain teams got picked up in certain areas and got official names like the Houston Outlaws, Chengdu Hunters or whatever, things like that. I don't know, I think that that kind of made it more relatable to like a larger audience, because just hearing like TSM and stuff like that, you know, a lot of people have no idea what that is, but saying like, this is the Houston team, or like, this is the Shanghai team, things like that, I think that's kind of cool. I think a lot of people can kind of relate to that and like cheer for whatever team they want.
Yeah, so I know at the professional level, we actually kind of talked about it in my esports class a little bit, and just in terms of taking that traditional sports model of franchising. So you have teams, you know, for baseball, it's the Boston Red Sox and the New York Yankees, and then the esports scene kind of through, you know, their development through the Overwatch World Cup and things like that, saw the success of, you know, that term of that identity that people can find. And, you know, this is my team, I'm from this area, so I think it's important that, you know, the Dallas area should have a team, and the Philadelphia area should have a team, and the Houston area should have a team. So they took that traditional model and applied it to the Overwatch League. So I think that you're going to see that more investors actually became more comfortable in investing in the space and becoming owners of different teams and things like that, because they felt more comfortable, because they were applying a traditional sports model to it, but it's still esports. So there was kind of this hybrid model that was created that allowed for more investors and brands to kind of enter the space. And so for me, I think that's very important. And then when you kind of go to the collegiate level, and just from kind of what I know this year, I know that TESPA is the largest entity in which kind of creates organized competition, especially for Overwatch. And so I know if you're looking for the highest level of competition at the collegiate level, you got to compete through TESPA. Other than that, I mean, I think there are a couple other avenues that you can compete through. Did you guys compete anything else?
I mean, there was like a few things, mostly before this kind of became a whole varsity thing. We were focused a lot on like, well, not even just focused, but like we were going to a lot of local tournaments, just bringing in like some prize money from those, doing some random online tournaments, whatever we could find that had a prize pool. And I guess it is nice to actually have structure in like a collegiate sense, because those tournaments you can like run into a bunch of people that have no idea what they're doing.
I did it! I have a firearm!
Or you can run into a team that like is conglomerated from a bunch of different people all around the world who are just good.
So from what I know, it's TESPA and Collegiate Star League are the two that I think offer Overwatch. Other than that, I think that's it.
Those are the big ones.
Those are the big ones. Well, TESPA we played throughout the whole semester, so TESPA has been a great resource for us, and that's where your top teams are going to play. And actually, ESPN just is going to, the top 8 teams through the TESPA tournament are now playing in Houston, and it's being put through being produced by ESPN.
I can't wait to see which teams make it to the championship in May. It will be really exciting to see them up close and in person.
And it's time to start looking towards the future, because now we can go over the upcoming matches and see who might be coming to Houston.
TESPA is kind of the big Overwatch body that people play through, and then Collegiate Star League, I still think people play through that, but for us, there was a lot of focus on TESPA this semester.
Like a lot of local tournaments, those will generally be like a little bit easier, I guess.
Yeah.
You'll be going up against just whoever is able to show up kind of thing. Whereas some of the online ones, you don't really know who you're going to run into. It could be something similar to that, or it could be, which is fairly common as well, a team that's like picked just from like whoever they got the best players from all around the region, and they just put together a team, and that's going to be a lot harder.
Yeah.
But a collegiate is somewhere kind of in between that, and I kind of like that level of competition for us because you have like everybody has to be from that college.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily like the best of the best, but it's like the best of who's like there basically.
So I think TESPA provides a level of continuity and fairness that maybe local tournaments can provide, just in terms of play throughout the semester. There's an organized way in which you can play other schools at a specific level that you know that whenever you compete against other colleges that they're going to be of similar rank depending on how far you go in TESPA and other things like that. So you know that if you're dedicating time to it, especially if it's someone like Joseph who's putting in time for his classes, for his personal life, and then also for practicing Overwatch, however much he practices per day, it's kind of like, okay, well, is this important enough to me for, you know, the structure that I'm trying to provide at the collegiate level? So basically TESPA provides that opportunity for students to participate, but then it also provides that value for our Overwatch team, where it's like, yes, your practice hours are valid because, you know, we have a league in which you can compete in and be competitive against other schools.
It's very interesting right now.
I agree.
Because, like, I guess with a bunch of changes in the game and how people have been complaining about the current meta, that's like kind of a big thing. But the other thing is that also the infrastructure is growing, and I think the player base, maybe I don't know too much about the player base, but like the viewer base is, I think, growing as well along with that. So like whenever you do have official competition days, Overwatch will be like on the Twitch charts up there, like pretty high up there. If you don't, it's going to be like average, not super popular. But I don't know. So I think whenever it is like structured and whenever there is good games and stuff going on, it's going to be pretty good. And I think also the meta is starting to try to change, and I think that will draw more people back in as well, especially people that just like current meta GOATs. A lot of people have been talking about that.
GOATs consist of Reinhardt, Zarya, Diva, Brigitte, Lucio, and Moira. The overall goal of the comp is to hit the enemy team like a train, isolating a single enemy and essentially insta-killing.
People that are not interested in that, I think, are going to start coming back a little bit as well, or viewing a little bit more. I think that'll be cool.
Yeah, and I think you kind of hit the nail on the head in terms of the viewership is an interesting thing to kind of watch, just as someone who's just, as the coordinator, I've kind of just found that very interesting, just in terms of whenever the Overwatch League goes live, you have 150,000 people watching the Overwatch League, but then when it's just, you know, casuals playing the game, if you try and browse the Twitch channel and go through and find Overwatch, it's just kind of an averagely watched game, as opposed to people playing, you know, other games, you know, obviously like Fortnite and League of Legends and other things like that. So there is this interesting disparity between whenever the Overwatch League goes live, you have just an exponential increase in viewers than compared to when you just have casual streamers. And I don't know if that's, you know, because of the personalities within the space. I don't know if it's because of the ability to just, if it's an interesting game to watch casually, you know, I don't really know, like, the reason for
My opinion on that, there's a couple different things. I think the primary one is something I talked about a little bit before, which is how much it's being pushed by Blizzard specifically. So like that is the premier way to like be watching Overwatch. So if somebody wants to watch a competitive game, they're not gonna often go somewhere else unless like maybe they have like a friend in the collegiate scene or something like that. So I don't know, I think that's just kind of the go-to. So it's like really popular whenever you're talking about that kind of stuff, and like it hits a lot of, it's fairly trending basically. But otherwise, like because of that, you're not gonna see it super popular all the time, like throughout the week and stuff.
Yeah, but I can't, like, in terms of just the Overwatch League in general, I mean, there aren't a whole lot of other esports that can pull that many eyes in terms of professional play. It's one of the, if not most popular titles. But for me as a coordinator, I've just kind of noticed just in terms of time management just this semester, just because the game requires a lot and it requires a lot of play and consistent play. And so I know that, we touched on this a little bit already, but I just know that these students are students. And I know that they have a lot of other things going on in their lives, and the game is important to them, but they also have other priorities. And so for me as a coordinator, I'm trying to do my best to ensure that through Discord or other medium of communication that their needs are being met, that there's team cohesion, that there aren't any issues within the team, along with whenever they play, that we can provide a facility for them that is conducive for them to play in at a high level. So this semester, it's just kind of been just a whole lot of just figuring it out, and the team has responded really well. There have been some ups and downs for sure throughout this semester, but I think for the situation that that we were in, they've responded really well. And so I just know some of the things that I've had to deal with has just been figuring out student schedules and making sure that their needs are being met, and making sure that they don't feel overwhelmed by the situation, because this semester people don't really know, but it can be very difficult for me as a coordinator to step in and just to come to someone like Joseph or Blake or Blaine or Tanner or Cameron or Colton or anybody on the team and just come to them and say, hey, look, we're changing the game completely here for you guys. You have to now compete, come to practice, compete, 3 or 4 times a week, and then you have this certain type of way that you've operated for a couple of years in college, and then we've completely shifted the meta. So now I think for me it was just figuring out a way to kind of soften that blow a little bit, and then just making sure that the team kind of stayed unified. So it's been a process, but I mean, we've learned a lot this semester.
Yeah. So from my perspective, I guess with the team and like all the things that we've had to go through, and also just the game in general, we're all kind of friends, like pretty good friends within the team. There's sometimes things that come up that make things rough, like it can get like emotional because everybody's very competitive at this level basically. But I don't know, we're still all friends. We still go through it all together. And there's just so many little things, I guess, because Overwatch is a game that has so many little variables, so many little things to like keep track of, like, is this person going to have their ultimate charged for the next fight? And then you have to multiply that by about 12 whenever you're asking that question, because there's 12 different people in each game. There's like a million different places that each of them could be, and they're all doing different things. And there's going to be like one thing that's better than another. So it's just kind of like there's so many things to think about in the heat of the moment. And there's so many little things that like if you don't like keep together and like keep on your toes, that everything can just like go wrong, and then people can get upset, things like that. So I don't know, it's just like as a player during the game, there's just like a lot of stuff to be keeping track of, kind of like a lot that you need to keep practicing for, because you're gonna mess up. Everybody messes up. Just trying to kind of learn from your mistakes. I don't know, that's something that everybody's kind of been working on a little bit. I think everybody's gotten a lot better. I definitely have, I feel. Just kind of, whenever you mess up, you gotta admit it. You gotta move on and work on it as a team. I think that's really big.
Definitely.
And then just all the personal things like time management and stuff has also been really big as well.
I mean, at the collegiate level, especially for Overwatch, if you compete in the TESPA League, you have the opportunity to win, scholarshiping and things like that. So the first place team might get like $5,600 or something like that.
Yeah, I think it's like split into a bunch of little tournaments too. At least it was this last time, to where like each player could get like $2,000 per like each of the 3 tournaments or something they had. So there's like a fair amount of prize potential, but it's not all about that either.
Yeah. No, and we've kind of touched on this before, but at the collegiate level, you're going to see a lot of the time the students are playing just for the love of the game, and just because they love playing Overwatch, or they love playing Rocket League or League of Legends or whatever that game may be. And so scholarshiping is just something that will come in the next couple of years, just in terms of something that I'm helping facilitate and build and development and things like that. So that's something that will come down the line. But just in terms of tournaments, they do have the opportunity to win scholarship money, but once again, these tournaments are massive. We played Texas Tech. They were good. UC Irvine was good. UCLA was good. Columbia is good. Robert Morris is good. Maryville is good. A lot of those kind of cornerstones of the esports, collegiate esports scene. So Boise State's always good. UT Dallas is good.
Yeah, I think we got paired with the West Coast in that.
We had a lot of
and
West Coast
the
schools.
West Coast is, I think, does have quite a few of those really good teams. And also we got in with a few Texas teams, which are known for getting like in the top 10 in TESPA as well.
UNT was in our
Yeah.
bracket. UNT is
We had to
very
play
good.
against them.
Yeah, so really good schools.
At least whenever I got here, we didn't have this whole setup. I started off I heard that there was an Overwatch team, but I had no idea where. There's actually a club here on campus that's pretty popular for that kind of stuff. They have like a lot of players that are either just casually into watching, or a lot of people that, I guess, moving on, like wanted to be fairly competitive. You have people that just want to like make friends and be on a team even if it's not that competitive. And then I think that this is kind of like the next level up from that, where so you kind of like start there, and if you feel like you could go higher, you want to be more serious than that club, then this is kind of the place to come to. I think that that was kind of my experience, and whenever this opened up, I was very excited to get into that because I am pretty serious about the game and everything.
Yeah, so I would say if you are a freshman coming in, or if you're just looking to get plugged in, Joseph already kind of said it, but just in terms if you're a little more casual and you just want to play with some friends and possibly be part of a league, then the Shocker Gaming Club on campus is a great place for someone to start. And then if you feel as if that you are trying to work towards getting to be a part of the varsity team, well, I think then you need to reach out and inquire essentially, where are your top players at? What are their ranks? Where do I need to be just to really almost on a kind of even be considered to be a part of the team? And then as a team, we can kind of look at the needs of the team and decide, okay, well, what are some of our weaker roles? Where do we need help? And so I would say, just in terms of if I'm trying to join a team that's already been established, like Overwatch, I would reach out and ask, okay, what are you looking for? What do we need at this current time? And then there will be time when players cycle off and graduate and move on and things like that. So there will always be attrition. But just in terms of getting to the varsity level, I would reach out to a coordinator or a director, whomever, and this is my information. This is where I'm at. Where do I need to be? Well, I know from a coordinator's perspective, I do feel like we're in a good spot just in terms of, this semester we were just kind of getting our feet wet and really seeing kind of, what it took to compete at a high level this semester. And I would consider this semester a success, in my opinion. I think that they competed very hard. We had to work around their schedules, and I know that the students made a lot of sacrifices this semester just in terms of getting to the space to play in the Heskett Center, and then also going home and competing at different times. So different students had to move different work schedules around and personal schedules around and things like that. So for the amount of games that we won in the varsity region that we were in, I think that it was an incredibly successful semester. And I told the students after they they finished up the season a couple weeks ago, I just said, everybody just needs to keep perspective. Just the fact that you guys played a lot of very talented teams this semester, competed with a lot of different teams. There weren't many times where we just got blown out. And so the talent is here for our team, and I think as long as the team kind of keeps perspective and keeps working together and has a good attitude and keeps working just as a team in general, and they stay friends throughout the whole process. I mean, in the fall, we're definitely going to look to expand the team a little bit, just in terms of having a couple more roles for different subs and things like that on the team. But other than that, I think we're in a good spot. We have a lot of people who are hungry.
Yeah, if I could expand on that a little, given like the whole talk about perspective.
Yeah.
For those that like don't know, as the ranks go, there's like silver, bronze, blah 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 blah, and it goes all the way up to grandmaster, and then like the top 500 players in a region. And our team is kind of playing at a level that is known as grandmaster, which is about the top 1% of players in the world or so. So, I mean, like, given that perspective, there's obviously a lot of people that play Overwatch, but getting a whole team that can play at that level, that is also all like friends with one another, I think is kind of huge. And like we have a lot of, like we've only been playing together this kind of structure for this first semester. I think as we get more practice and like get all good together, I think we have a lot of chances to go farther. The reason I kind of play, or at least one of the reasons I've found that I enjoy playing so much with the team and like doing all this hard work, the reason it kind of like pays off is whenever, I guess, you're in a game and everything just kind of goes well, everything kind of clicks.
Yeah.
It's just like an amazing feeling to know that all 6 of you had like come together and you've become significantly more than the sum of your parts, I guess. That's a really good feeling to me.